Men, in this video I'm going to talk about people, and more specifically how people tend to have such a negative influence on us achieving our massive goals. I don't know what it is about humans, but we are social creatures, and getting some form of approval from those we care about it's just ingrained in our DNA. And I know we're men at the end of the day, and I know that when people ask us, do we care what people think? We'll be like, no, don't care what people think. But deep down, people's opinions of us matter. Now, my promise to you in this video, I'm going to challenge your ability to reflect on how positive or negative people's influences have on you achieving your goals. The importance of this is it just helps you emotionally either engage or disengage from certain people within your life in order for you to stay on the path. Who am I? My name is Paul Green, and I'm a former British paratrooper and Special Forces Support Group operator. Over the past decade, I have trained many elite men across the fence, including those in the RAF, the Royal Marines and the Parachute Regiment. It's crazy in the Parachute Regiment because when you actually get to your unit, you have so many different people, and so many people who you just think are like godlike figures. You know, these people have been on multiple operations and done some absolutely top graft in situations of high pressure, high stress, high danger. So the influence that they have over you, not just in work, but actually outside of work, is a very strong influence, and it's almost like you do anything to impress them. So the first, say 6 months of me being at my unit, often I used to like training, I used to like physical training, get up early and I'd go and do my physical training sessions and stuff like that. And they like to go out drinking. And they were like, Greenie, what are you doing? Why aren't you with us in the bar drinking? And I'm just like thinking, well, my mum used to drink kind of a lot. I don't really like drink, I don't really like getting drunk, and I'm training in the morning, I want an early night. And they'd look at me and they'd be like, what? You're in the reg, they're just like, what are you doing? Anyway, so for a few months I did lap it up and I sucked it up, and I got on it with the blokes. And of course I had to play that game, because the relationships that you build with these men who will risk their life for you is a very important bond to cherish and build to deeper levels. But the purpose of this video is to really reflect, or have the ability to reflect in the moment, on just how positive or negative an influence certain individuals or groups are having on you and your goals. So, like I said earlier on, there's a little bit of a background, but more importantly, now I'm an online coach. I run a laser-focused online coaching service specifically for men over 40. And here we have some gentleman that's 50-year-old, 62-year-old, and in his late 40s. And yeah, if that's something you're interested in, the links are in my channel. Jump on, book a call with me, and yeah, we could work together if you so wish. If you prefer the educational content that I deliver very regularly on YouTube, then stick around and get comfortable, because I absolutely love delivering these also. So the plan of this video, I'm simply just going to talk about goals, different groups in your life that either have a positive or a negative influence over us, whether this is a net gain or a net loss with regards to our goals, and that's it, job done. I do not see this video taking longer than 10 minutes, but that's what I say on some of my 45-minute videos that I've delivered on YouTube previously. So I'm just going to go back a couple of slides as I start rattling this off. Goals is the first thing I'm going to talk about. So in order to have goals, you have to set goals, and you always have to have one eye, or even better than that, two eyes, focused long term. It's a very difficult thing to do, especially when most people nowadays live in the here and the now. And there is beauty to being completely present and enjoying here and now, because let's be honest, I always say you might die tomorrow. What does it matter? What does it matter doing things now which are going to benefit you in 10 years? And just chipping away like a robot in order to benefit ourselves in 10 years' time. There is beauty to living in the here and now, but if you want to achieve your goals, having that long-term vision and having that nature to like literally be so disciplined that you're acting like a robot day in, day out, it doesn't have to be for many hours of the day, by the way, just 1 or 2 hours of the day, you are acting like a robot and you've got that long-term vision and you do it with no emotion, no matter what. That's goals and having that long-term vision. But with that in mind, having moments during the day to focus on the here and the now and really enjoy the being present, again, is so important as well. So this is a bit of a balancing act. But the point I'm making is goals are necessary. You need to have extremely large goals and long-term goals. You need to be doing something every single day in order to achieve them long-term goals. The problem with this is that not many people have goals. Not many people have goals, so they have no requirement to look long-term. So every single day, they are thinking about the here and the now and how they can maximise their hormones here and now. Whether that be, let's go for food, and the message in you get sucked into going for food, spending 30 quid on food and drinks. Then you end up buying an outfit, and then you're in the clubs. And as a knock-on effect of your next day, eating unhealthy, the next day after that, probably still feeling a little bit ropey. That's like 30%, just short of 30% out of your week. For one little person who lives in the here and the now, messages you because he wants to make himself feel better in that moment. So the importance of goals, the importance of having goals that are not just there for the sake of it, but they actually motivate you, they actually make you excited, and the thought of not just delivering or achieving them goals, but the importance of really enjoying that journey and feeling passionate about that journey is super important. Like, those of you may know that I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I'm a purple belt, and yeah, the idea of getting a black belt at some point in the future, gives me a great, a nice little feeling. But what's better than the black belt is the journey of actually learning and getting to the skill level that is required of a black belt. Not just the skill level, the development of my character as a martial artist, as a coach, as a leader, all these things come into the mix. So the display, the journey is more important than the actual goal itself. But the goal is still important because it just keeps you heading in the right direction. And like I said earlier on, most people don't have goals. So they live in the here and the now. Most of their days are in the here and the now. And a lot of times they drag you into the here and the now, which distract you from your long-term goals. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. It's like this video is more of like a conversation with you and just being careful about getting sucked in too often, because it can do you more harm than it can benefit. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the different people that influence us. Like I said earlier on, in the parachute regiment, the brotherhood it's one of the strongest brotherhoods in the world. Like, people will hold you so accountable during work. I say during work, right? People will hold you so accountable. You have to be so highly skilled in all areas of soldiering. Your kit and equipment needs to be of the highest standard at all times, because when it matters most, these people need to rely on you. And what happens is that trickles out of work. Now, soldiering is, it's probably about 15 to 20 individual skill sets all packaged into one. But then, as soon as work finishes, and some people can say in the military the work never actually finishes, but as soon as work finishes, you as an individual may have certain skill sets that you really enjoy practicing. Like for me, it might have been playing guitar. For them, it might just be getting on it and, enjoying being social and lots of alcohol or whatever like that. But you sometimes get sucked into their things, what they love doing. And again, is it benefiting you? That's what I'm saying. So you've got different people. Like me, 11 years ago, there was the people that had most influence on me at that point of my career was the senior lads in the parachute regiment, because they want to mould you into just a top operator, but they also want to, because you spend a lot of time with these people, they want to know that they can spend a lot of time with you and you're a sound bloke, and when it matters most, they want to know that they can rely on you, and not just rely on you in work, but rely on you out of work, just to be a good person to be around and all of them things. So there's a really interesting dynamic that happens in the parachute regiment, and a lot of times, especially if you're a strength geek, fitness nerd like I was in my early days, sometimes there's a bit of a clash there, a real predicament. And bringing it back to your lives, I'm sure you have friends that every Friday, every Saturday are mentioning, fancy going to the pub, and just for one, and the social peer pressure that comes in the mix, because like I said, we're all men, and we all say that we don't care what people think, but when we're getting called boring, and because we're not drinking, we're getting called boring, and we're getting tempted to break. Like, I didn't start drink when I was 18. I didn't really drink. When I was 19, I didn't really drink. When I was 20, I didn't really drink. And then it was when I was early 20s, I started having a bit of a drink, because my mother had a drinking problem. It kind of put me off alcohol. So, but the amount of people that had come up to me and say, "Oh, I just want," they're just, I don't know what it is, but people like to test, whether you're going to break and they'll get a lot of satisfaction out of seeing you have a drink after you've said that you're not going to have a drink. Don't know what it is about humans and men. We just do that to each other because we're just weird. But it's not very supportive of, your viewpoint, your stance on something. But it is supportive of theirs. Do you know what I mean? They want you to drink because that will make them feel better because they are drinking. For example, another example of this is, let's say I've got a good mate back at home and he drinks, and there's been a couple of times that me and him have went out and I haven't drank, and he's sat there drinking alcohol and I'm sat there drinking whatever, and he's like, he feels weird because I'm not drinking, and now that blows my mind. It's like, if you want to drink, fair enough, but if you feel weird that I'm not drinking, because it basically holds a mirror up to himself, and it's like, I'm sat here drinking by myself, and it's like, it makes him feel uncomfortable, and I kind of understand it, but I'm just thinking, like, it's funny, isn't it? This type of thing is really interesting. But just to summarise this point, you've got different people in your life, right? You've got friends at work, you've got friends outside of work, you've got your family, you've got your missus, you've got your kids. All of these people will have influences over your lives, and I know we are men and we say that they don't, but we do actually care about what they think. However, when we do not care what they think is when our passion for our mission and our goals becomes far superior to the opinions of others. Now, not many men have goals, so these opinions are of the most highest priority ever. The opinions of our friends, work friends, play friends, our opinions of our family, our opinions of our children and our missus are of the utmost priority to us if we don't have any long-term goals. But, your family will either support you or they'll give you snidey comments about certain things that you're doing with your life. Your missus may support you. Do you know what I mean? Like, all these people have like little weird ways of showing that they are supportive or kind of like zapping your energy a little bit. And like I said, the reason this video is just to shine a spotlight on that. I'm going to go on to the next bit. So yeah, like I said earlier on, right, it either creates a net gain or a net loss in your energy levels towards whatever it is you wanted to do. So a net gain does doing what you engaged in doing, what you indulged in doing, create massive excitement for you to go back to the drawing board and then again embark on your mission, achieving your long-term goals? Does it create like a sense of urgency and a sense of excitement in order for you to achieve, all these goals that you've set for yourself? Or does it put you at a 2 or 3 day disadvantage? Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be one of them little weirdos that are just preaching about the grind and all the rest of it, because it's absolute bollocks. But I just want you to have the ability to, maybe just take a breath and just go, well, I kind of had some plans in the morning, I'm going to give it a miss tonight, mate. Do you know what I mean? Because, I don't know, maybe I've been a bit of a loner. Like, I'll share another story about myself. And it's still with me now. The habit I got myself into in my teenage years, it's still with me now. But I believe it served me incredibly well in my teenage years. So for example, right, my mother suffered with chronic depression. She used drink. She binge drinks massively to put a plaster on chronic depression and kind of as her escape. So because of that, I associate drink with bad because it affected my mum so badly, and it made me, look at her, and it affected our relationship. We were always arguing. So I was like, drink, bad. Happy days. It's a great lesson to learn in early teenage years. When my friends, as I started to grow up, 12, 13, 14, 15, as they started getting introduced into alcohol and stuff like that, it was like, drink. My friends are now drinking. I was like, drink, bad. Do you know what I mean? Because it was already there. It was already in my DNA at that point. So I'd avoid. I was like, drink. Oh, they're drinking. Ah, bad. And I'd find something else to do with my life to stay away from the drink. And what I did is I started playing online games and stuff like that. I started playing, PlayStation and all these games because I was in my own little bubble. And yeah, online games and stuff like that come with their own disadvantages. Like, you get addicted, how productive are you actually being? But this was my way of staying out of trouble. Do you know what I mean? It was my way of staying away from a certain influence, but obviously now an online game became a different influence in my life for many years. It still is now. I do love my online games. I prefer to play online games. I say online games. I haven't played them for the past few weeks or whatever, but I believe they served me very positively at a time where I could have easily went down the wrong path. But that's a whole different influence, and when I look back at the amount of time I spent on these games, then I can actually criticise myself now and think, friggin' hell, imagine if I just did something else. So, but anyway, the point I'm making is I genuinely believe that given the circumstances I was in, me playing online games instead of going out drinking with my teenage friends and doing drugs and doing all sorts of shenanigans was actually a net gain on me as an individual to achieve my long-term goals, which I didn't really have any long-term goals at that point in my life. But now as I sit back, I'm like, guaranteed net gain, right? Or I could have went down the wrong path and it being a net loss, massive net loss to my character. So in the real world, obviously that's a nice story from myself. I've shared a couple now. You'll always get a couple of stories from me on this channel. I just really hope that you can just reflect and, at the very least, set some long-term goals, and set some long-term goals that the mission, the journey of achieving them goals is actually extremely exciting. If so, this doesn't deter us from that mission. We can indulge every so often in a little bit of this. My mate is back. I haven't seen him in like 2 years. He's back in the UK in August. We might go out for a drink. Like, I'm not saying that we will. We would at the moment we would rather sit at a coffee shop and get absolutely wired with our notebooks and start talking about, you know, online coaching or, you know, something mission specific. Do you know what I mean? We would probably rather do that, and we probably do that as well. We may indulge. Do you know what I mean? So it's just having that awareness of who is actually trying to drag you into these areas, and no doubt, people. There's a saying, and it's like, you know, people put us down. People slag us off behind our backs and stuff like that. People support us. People behind our back actually compliment us. And one thing that I've never seen to be not true is people that are ahead of you are always really supportive. It's very rare that people that are ahead of you are unsupportive and actually try and knock you down. And it's usually, and I say usually, almost every single time it's people that are behind you are the ones that have got something bad to say, or the ones that are trying to create this. Gentlemen, that's it for this video. A little bit of a different one, but it's just something that I am passionate about. I love these social problems that we find ourselves in. And, you know, for the past decade, past 15 years, I've managed to be a little bit of a loner. I've got a few good mates, and I've got a few good mates. Like, I say a few good mates. Like, you really have to think about how many good mates have you got, and how much of this do they provide you. And it's a very selfish way of looking at your friends, because in some regards, they might be providing this. They might be funny, so that's a net gain. Do you know what I mean? They might be really good with women, so I don't know, if you're single, that might be a really, really important net gain. But overall, is this happening? And, you know, it's worth giving some thought, man. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of times when we get sucked in to the influence of others and chasing the approval of others, it just never ends. It's a never-ending cycle, because once we've got the approval of a certain group of people, you know, we grow as a certain character in a certain direction, and then you're chasing other people's approval, because once you've got that, it's like, right, what's next? And what you've done is you've ventured out all over the place, and you actually haven't developed yourself with regards to your mission. So it's a very, very slippery slope, and it's something that needs to be addressed. Something that I'm passionate about. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there, man. Like I said earlier on, if you like this type of stuff, I post predominantly PT specific lectures focused on men over 40, reducing the decline of type 2B muscle fibres, those responsible for strength, speed and power. But every so often I'll throw in a different one like this, where I talk about other problems that men face. And obviously this video is we are influenced by our friends, our family, and that's the reason why we are in a terrible state. If the goals put fire in your belly, then you would not listen to other people that try and drag you down. It's a very harsh way of putting it, but it's very true. Men, pleasure. I'll see you tomorrow.